Greetings and salutations, everyone. I am, as always, darthdevious, and today I have an early birthday present. That's right, birthday present from my good friend Kerry. He bought this off of Grim from Grimm's Toy Show. So, Kerry, I thank you very much, dude. It's a great birthday present to get. And probably wouldn't have gotten this any other way. So I really do appreciate it, man. Really do. And Grim, thank you for shipping it to me. That was cool too. So, there you go. So, here he is. He's all shiny. He's reflecting the light back in your face. Ha 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 ha. And, yeah. He's really cool. Look at that. Can't wait to get him out of the box. Before that, though, I will show off a few things on the box, because there are some errors that you should be made well aware of that's on the box. Okay. On the front, there's really not any errors. I mean, it's Toys R Us exclusive. Most of us know that. Display stand included, which is nice because none of the Takara versions of this mold, which is a repaint of the MP11 version of Starscream, which is the remold of the original, Masterpiece Seeker mold, which I'll show off. I'll bring Starscream over and compare them later, because there are a lot of differences. Almost every part has some small remolding or re-engineering to make this what is essentially a better version of the first Masterpiece Seeker. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that. On this side, we see some artwork. I will speak to that on the back, because that same artwork's on the back. On this side, tells you what he comes with. Says he has two different heads. No, he doesn't. He's got the new MP11 head, which has the spring out sides on the head. It does not have two faces. If you try to pull the face off, you're going to break this. Right, back to the side. Hidden missile pods. Yes, he still has those in his chest underneath the vents. That's one thing that's still the same between the molds. Opening canopy, of course. Adjustable thrust vector, yes. Swing open nose cone, still there, just like on the other mold. Includes display stand. Here's his tech specs. If you guys want them, you can look at them. And we'll look at the back of the box. Here, if you can read it, you can pause it, read it, have at it. There's his bio. Highly articulated and posable. And this says it's supposed to be a picture of the robot mode. No. What's actually on the back of this box is this guy right here. Classics Generations Thundercracker. This is the artwork they used. This is the same artwork from the Classics Generation Thundercracker's packaging. Just so you guys know. It's funny. I mean, if you look, I'll flip them back around. If you look, they have a lot of the same paint scheme details, so I can see that working for that. You know, the red and white stripes on the wings, the red stripe on the shoulders. Yeah, you can get away with saying that that's that, but the null rays on the arms are completely different and things like that. So, yeah, just thought I'd point that out. I thought that was funny since I first saw packaging pictures of this, that they actually put that Thundercracker on the box. Yeah. On the back of the box. Yeah, there we go. There's a blooper for everybody. I'll leave that in. Alright, so this is going to probably be a slightly longer review than my normal reviews, simply because he's a big figure and there's a lot to go over. So bear with me. I'm not going to show transformation on this guy. I'll cut that out just to save time. That way I can focus on showing you all my thoughts on this. So, till I get him out of the package, I'll be right back. Okay, so here we have Thundercracker. He's out of his box. He's in his jet mode. And I've always loved the Masterpiece Seeker mold. It's just, there's a lot of changes to this from the other. I'll bring in one of my other two Masterpiece Seekers and I'll compare it. But I think the changes they did benefit the robot mode so much more that it makes it worth it. Now, we'll get into the paint details first, because that seems to be where a lot of people are having issues with this mold. I love this here. Why are you turning yellow on me? Don't do that. Thank you. Yeah, I love this paint here. Alright. That's very much like the G1 toy back in the day. Here you have Reflector tampoed on. He's on both sides. As you can see, there he's there. And that is in reference to the first episode of the G1 cartoon, More Than Meets the Eye. When they're on Earth, Thundercracker deploys Reflector to spy on some humans and, you know, their energy production and all that good stuff that the Decepticons used to do back in that day. On the side here, this side says Captain J. Dragon Sass. And it says D24. D24 is reference to Thundercracker's original number from Takara. The Decepticons in Japan are known as Destrons. D24, he was the 24th Decepticon. Blah, blah, blah. You know. Okay. On this side it says Lieutenant Joe Big Daddy Kide. Whatever. Nice Decepticon symbols here on the wings. Love the red stripes, red and white stripes on the wings. They're done very well. The blue on him is done nicely. I love the blue. Now here's where people are getting a little upset. You know, on the back here, it's a picture of a Seeker holding Soundwave and it says Sonic Boom. Get over it. This is another G1 reference, you know. Thundercracker makes Sonic Booms. He's holding Soundwave. Masterpiece Soundwave's coming out. I think you guys can just deal with it. If you don't like it, you know what? You can remove it. Get some rubbing alcohol, remove it, but you're going to have to repaint the black on the wings. What can I tell you? I like it. I think it gives him character. And I'll tell you why I like it when I bring in Skywarp in a minute. I'll show you. Skywarp is very plain in comparison to Thundercracker. There's not a lot of paint apps on him. Never has been. Whatever. So, let me show off the features because they're the same as all the other Seekers. You can pull the nose cone out. There's the radar dish inside. I love how his nose cone is black. That's very nicely done. When you see my Skywarp, you'll see that I took rubbing alcohol and I took the paint off and made it purple on him. Unfortunately, the mechanism that went here broke, so now it's permanently glued on. I can't open his. Yeah. Let me get Skywarp so I can compare the rest of this, because now we're getting into areas where things were changed. Here we have Skywarp and Thundercracker together. And you can see, I know Skywarp's a black jet and all that, but his paint job is very drab in comparison to Thundercracker's. And there's nothing here, you know, there's nothing extra on him at all. Even Starscream had extra stuff like the crown and cape motif here and stuff like that. Skywarp's was very plain. I mean, the back wings were done nicely. Some nice paint on the tips of the wings that Thundercracker's missing, but I can easily add that myself. But, yeah, he's plain. He doesn't have character to him, and that's the thing. Thundercracker has character. People may not like this, they may not like that. It gives him character. Fighter jet pilots all the time are putting stuff on their jets to make them distinguished. It makes them one with their fighter jet, makes them fly it better. I can get down with that. Alright. So here we have the air brake on both of these guys. Now you can see Skywarp's, it's just plain black in there. Thundercrackers, they actually painted in there. A nice dark silver. I like that. That's really cool. Now, on the back here, on both these guys, you can open up the panels above the jet exhaust. Forgive me, Thundercracker's kind of tight. He's brand new. As you can see, they're slightly different. And he still has the molded detail of the jet engine in here on Thundercracker, but these become his heel spurs. It's very important. That was a key thing that was missing from my Skywarp. These were supposed to be his heels. Look how loose these were. There's no way he can stand up without his stand. Starscream I don't have that problem with. Starscream can stand up without the stand. Skywarp, never going to happen. So now most of the changes on them are on the underside. And what you can see here is Skywarp's jet mode, the original Masterpiece Seeker mold, had everything here on the side to give it a more rounded, streamlined look like a real jet. Whereas the new MP11 mold, all this has been redone. And as you can see, everything's squared off, the wings, the arm parts are not covered up as much. Also, the null rays are on this ball-jointed swivel thing, so you don't have to take them completely off the figure to transform them, even though it might be a little easier, still. So you can see, yeah, there's some differences underneath, but nothing major. Now, they both have the same landing gear, pretty much. It's just that the changes made to Thundercracker were done, well, I should say, you know, MP11 Starscream, but the changes done to this version of the mold just enhance the robot mode that much more. So I can forgive the jet mode being a little bit more blocky underneath. It still looks very convincing as a fighter jet, a real fighter jet, which was the goal of the Masterpiece line, to look like a real vehicle while still being the same character. See? Let's get Skywarp out of here. Okay. I'll show off some things that he comes with. Of course, you got his stand, which for some reason they think Thundercracker is 2 words, but on the box it's actually 1 word. So, just a little nitpick, nothing major. Nice purple Decepticon symbols, shiny. Look at that, metallic. That is just beautiful. I really love what they did with his missile pods. I mean, it's hard to put them on there. You really have to fiddle around with the null rays or just pop them off completely. But these missiles, here's Skywarp's missile pod. Plain black except for the orange and yellow stripes. Or the red and yellow stripes, whatever. Whereas Thundercrackers, you have the nice blue base, white and silver for the missiles. Just, they stand out. And you can see, you know, Starscreams are more like Skywarps. Just, you know, they did the tips, then you got the gray stripes, and then it's all white. So out of the 3 missile pods, Thundercracker's got the best missile pod, in my opinion. It comes with a little pilot. This is a little silver airplane pilot thing. Looks sort of like something NASA test pilots would wear in the 50s and 60s. Is this Chuck Yeager? Might be. Ooh. Alright, you young guys probably don't even know who he is. He broke the sound barrier. Anyway. Whereas Starscream and Skywarp came with Dr. Arkavale. Now, of course, I painted this Dr. Arkavale to make him more like the G1 cartoon, but not too bad, these 2 little things together. Shiny one's kind of cool. Also comes with this clip. The clip goes under the nose cone right there. That clip is for holding this Megatron gun. This is all beat up. I've had this for a number of years, since the MPO1 originally came out, the Walmart version. So this is kind of old. But yeah, this clips on underneath. Sometimes doesn't hold too well. But just like in a few episodes of G1 where the Seeker Jets would hold Megatron in gun mode underneath and fly and shoot with him. So that's what that's for. The Takara versions of the MP11 mold don't come with all this stuff. They come, so far you got Starscream and Sunstorm. They come with the coronation gear instead. That's nice, but I like having the uniformity of being able to have all three of my Seekers on the stands because I can give them nice flying poses. So I appreciate Hasbro giving us the stand instead. I don't think Thundercracker would have looked right in the purple cape. That's just my opinion. Okay, so I think that's it for the jet mode. I'm going to get him transformed into robot mode. We'll look at his robot mode, and then we'll bring in Starscream and do the see what changes were made. And that's about it. But yeah, I give the jet mode 2 thumbs up so far. Even with all this little graphic stuff on, I like it. Gives him character. And that's what Transformers are. They're characters. Okay? Alright. Be right back. Alrighty. Here's Thundercracker in his robot mode. And I like it. I like it a lot. I will say he's aesthetically, to me, a little bit more like what a Seeker should be. And the original Masterpiece mold isn't bad. This is a good improvement. I will say that. It still has some of the same problems the original Masterpiece mold had, mainly this whole floppy chest bit here, but can't fix everything all at once. I will say I love that new head sculpt. That is so much more a Seeker head sculpt. I love how, you know, it goes from being thin and little vents come out the side when you transform him. That is just awesome. Just look at that. That is just some great work on there. So, his articulation's the same as all the other, you know, Masterpiece Seekers. You got a ball jointed neck. You can look up, look down, and like that. You got to kind of hold him. He's got ratchets in his shoulders. Swivel at his bicep. He has a double elbow, which is nice. Swivel in his wrist. Ball joint in his thumb. His first finger has 2 joints. Then his other 3 fingers are fused together, just like the other Masterpiece Seeker mold. This is on a ball joint, so this swivels and can pose and get out of the way, which is nice. He somewhat has a waist, but not really. You get a little wiggle out of it, not much. On the original Seeker mold, this crotch piece moved. On the new MP11 version, it does not. I am not going to move it, and if anybody suggests it, you're getting smacked. My friend Optibotomus broke his on his MP11 Starscream by taking somebody's suggestion that it can move. It doesn't move. It's permanently in the out position, which lets the cockpit slide down just a tiny bit more into position. So, we'll get past that. He does have the missiles in there, and I love how they're actually painted. Skywarps were not painted at all. Starscreams were. Nope, Starscreams are not. I'm sorry. Take that back. So his are painted. Maybe Skywarps were painted too. I can't remember. He has much better legs than the other Masterpiece Seeker. I mean, look at that. Nice heel spur. And what's nice is when you transform him, when you lift this up and pull the heel spur out and put it back, it locks the heel spur in place. So you get nice stability. Hip kibble, gone. It's now on the sides of the legs where it belongs. And this is how a Seeker is supposed to be. Nice chunky bottom legs with the wings on it. That is how it's supposed to be. I know they were trying to give him elegant legs for the original Masterpiece, but it failed because you had hip kibble. It's got a much different foot, which I'll show off in a minute. He's got swivel there. He's got ratchets in his thighs. Ratchets in his knees, which is nice. Nice swivel. So yeah, he's got nice posability for a figure this size. He really does. And I think out of my 3 Masterpiece Seekers, he's got to be the best looking out of them. He really does. This is really making me want the MP11 Starscream to replace my other one. But what can you do? I'll stick with the one I have for now. It's not a priority. So, Let me bring in Starscream, and I'm probably going to have to hold Starscream so I can compare the two. Because, again, he does not have heel spurs, and I took him off of his stand so that we can compare the two. So, here's Starscream. You guys saw me review him not too long ago. We'll start from the top. His head, much smaller, thinner than Thundercracker's. The new MP11 head really needs to be... Somebody needs to, like, copy it and put it out there for people who have this mold so they can put that Starscream head on it. It looks so much better. The arms on this one, as you can see, far more chunkier only because you got so much more plain bits hanging off. Look how much wider it is to where the null rays plug in. All that is plain bits. Same thing on the side of his arm. His arm is nice, smooth. He's got this big white chunk hanging off of it. They did a really good job. I will say the jet mode on the original Masterpiece Seeker mold looks more like an actual jet because he's got, you know, more square bits underneath. However, as I said, it gives him a better robot mode. Far more in proportion to what, you know, you would think. The bigger Seeker head goes a long way to making this whole mode come together so much better. The hip kibble. This has always been a bane of these molds. Yeah, you're supposed to, you know, store it back like this, but then you really get into stability issues if you do that. Because now you got half a plane hanging off and he just really wants to fall over. So most people leave it down like this for stability. As you can see here, like I said, this crotch piece can move in and out so that this can slide down. That was removed on this. It's just permanently out. His legs more squared off here where the wheels are. They're more, these are bigger. The feet are more square other than rounded. As you can see. There's a nice angled chunk here that's missing from here because the hip kibble does plug into this in plane mode. So yeah, his legs are thinner, but really, I mean, this junk should have been down here. It would have been easy to do, obviously, because they pulled it off of him. Which, a lot of the mods they did actually are what iGear did with their knockoff Seekers. Ironically. One thing I do like, you can see here on Thundercracker, this part of the plane, this sharp part, comes down off the wing. I always love that because to me that's just a thing in the Seekers. You can see on Starscream, nothing comes off the wings because those parts are here on his shoulders, right above his shoulder, and they're a pain. They come off when you transform this original mold so easily. It's easier to just take them off. Whereas he's missing them, gives him much cleaner shoulders. I like that. Like I said, Starscream's not going to stand. I'm going to move him back there for a second. So, his arms go in and out a little bit too, which is cool. Aha! He could just... I'm going to take you all out. Look at that. See how much easier it is to pose him? You just pose him and he stays. He's got the feet perfect. Perfect. Love it. Gotta love it. Look at that. I didn't even try. And there's a badass pose. Look at that. Yeah. You know you guys like it. Alright. Final thoughts here. Let's get the final thoughts. This video is getting long. This is going to be almost a half hour long at this rate. This was a good first attempt at a Masterpiece Seeker. I still love this. This is still one of my favorite toys. It was something that really means a lot to me to have in my collection because Starscream is my favorite character. Had to have it. Had to have the coronation set, you know. However, this is a fantastic upgrade of the mold. I really want to get the Starscream version of it. It's going to be a while, I think, before I can get anything. Unless it gets gifted to me, which I doubt anybody's going to gift me a Masterpiece Starscream. That's expensive. I wouldn't want anybody to do that. So, anyway, Masterpiece Thundercracker. If you see him in Toys R Us, I suggest you get him. Because he's fantastic. He really is. He can do a lot more than the original Masterpiece Seeker mold can do. And if you want a nicely posable Masterpiece figure that's stable, you're looking at getting him or maybe Masterpiece Grimlock, because they're the only ones who can really hold really good poses without falling over. The original Masterpiece Seekers can't do it. They have to be on their stand, which is okay because you can give them decent poses on the stand and you don't have to worry about gravity. Masterpiece Optimus Prime, the MP01, he's really heavy. I can't really get him into too many decent poses just because of his weight. And he weighs like 5-6 pounds on his own. For a toy, that's heavy. Masterpiece Rodimus Prime, he's hard to pose. He really is. I don't have Masterpiece Megatron, so I can't speak to that. I don't have MP10. Don't think I'm going to be getting MP10, as far as I know. So, nobody asked if I'm going to be reviewing MP10, because if by some miracle he ends up in my collection, yes, he will get reviewed. If not, then no, he won't. Okay? Alright. So, Thundercracker. Get him. This is a fantastic version of this. I'm so glad they brought this to the United States that fast, because the MP11 mold just came out. They did a good job in not just giving us Starscream again, but giving us what here in the United States was the third missing Seeker. I mean, we only had Skywarp and Starscream. And it's nice to have Thundercracker and in a superior version. So, yeah. I can't gush on this enough. Alright, guys. I'm going to call this one a day. He gets my, seal of approval. Oh, yeah. Big time. It's a fantastic version of this Seeker mold. Fantastic. Thumbs up to Hasbro. They got one right. Finally. All the crap we've been getting lately, they finally got one right. So you guys, be good. All of you. Be good. Because now I've got 3 Masterpiece Seekers I can send after you. I've got my own Seeker Armada. Behave.